Welcome back to Regular Guys Outdoors. I'm Chris. This is going to be a really brief review of the Stevens 555 youth model. This one's in 20 gauge. I got the youth model because I'm going to make this into a turkey gun. Hopefully a very versatile turkey gun. So I've already installed my True Glow gobble stopper sights. As well as the sling swivels or sling studs. Got a barrel band up front, and I drilled and tapped the stock. Now I wouldn't do that on an expensive over-under, but this one's pretty affordable. So the idea here is to have my top barrel dialed in with an expensive turkey load with a good choke tube for my 40-yard kind of range, and then use the bottom barrel as my up-close barrel and be able to use just about any turkey load I have sitting on the shelf and all those partial boxes from all the testing. So basically inside 30 yards I use my bottom barrel, and outside 30 yards I use the top barrel. Now I'll be able to select between my barrels when the gun's in the safe position. If I push to the right, that'll be my bottom barrel. If I push to the left, left for long, right for right on top of me, I'll use my top barrel. So upper barrel, the over barrel in this case, the O, is long range. The under barrel, U, is the close-up range. So if I push the safety to the left and then push the safety off, that's the top barrel. If I push the safety to the right and then off, that's the bottom barrel. So that's the idea. I tried this with a Stevens side-by-side because with the same idea in mind. And the problem is the barrels kind of at a given point intersect. And so what I found was in that say 25 to 27 yards, the left barrel would pattern slightly left and the right barrel would pattern slightly right. 30 yards or so, they'd be kind of dead on, and then 35 yards they would kind of pass yet again, and right barrel's now favoring the left and the left barrel's now favoring the right. And I think in hindsight, if I would have probably gone ahead and just got some kind of a rifle sight on there, I could have still done the same thing and just dialed in the sight for 40 yards on the left barrel for long, and then the right barrel I could have just probably left it as is and let the dispersion of a turkey load that doesn't pattern as good, just let that open pattern work for me inside of 30 yards. So, and the gun here, it comes with 5 choke tubes and a cool little choke tube wrench. Now this gun also, it does not automatically go on to safe when you open it up. So if you're on fire and you open the gun up, it does not go back to safe like a Stoeger side-by-side does. So you need to manually put it on safe once you close it up, or leave it on safe, open and close it, and do like that. So the action's pretty stiff, and this is extractors, not ejectors, which is what I want, because I'm also thinking at the end of a turkey day I can take my shells out easily, especially if you've got those, you know, $8 TSS loads. You don't have to cycle them through your action on a, say, a pump gun. So that's another reason why I kind of wanted this. You're not having to cycle your expensive shells in and out, potentially damaging them along the way, especially when they use those roll crimps, the way a lot of TSS shot is done. So like I said, this is a youth model, so it has a shorter length of pull and 24-inch barrels. It is made in Turkey. The choke thread is a Benelli Beretta mobile choke thread, so that's a nice, common, easy choke tube to find. Currently I've got the Carlson's TSS up top, so I can try to dial in that top barrel for long range. And I've got a True Lock Longbeard choke on the bottom that is 5.65 and the TSS Carlson's is a 555. So a little looser here, and I'm thinking if I use some kind of a lead load down here, this will be my short range barrel. Go TSS or 3rd degree up top. That'll be my long range barrel. Maybe the Federal Grand Slams, I don't know, those shoot pretty darn well up top there. This gun is extremely light. I'm not sure what the literature says, but I weighed it on my scale and it's 5 pounds 4 ounces. How's that? That's pretty freaking light. It feels like it's 3 pounds is what it feels like. And that's 5 pounds 4 ounces with extended choke tubes and the little bit of extra metal I've already added. So it's probably 5 pounds 1 ounce coming out of the box. So let's go ahead and measure the trigger pulls on each barrel. See how that goes. I will tell you right now, it's a little heavy. We got some spent shells here. Use them kind of like snap caps. So with the safety to the right, or to the left, that's going to be the over barrel first. About 7 1/4. Now let's see what the under barrel does. About 7 3/4. Now let's try it by going opposite. So we'll push the safety to the other side. Got to go back to safe, across, and then off safe. So this will be bottom barrel first, which was 7 3/4 last time. And it's 7 3/4 this time. So now it's going to reset to the top barrel. About 7 1/2 or so there. So we're looking at about 7 1/4, 7 1/2 up top, and about 7 3/4 down on the bottom. Definitely a little more trigger pull than I would prefer. So again, extractors. Now one thing I did notice before I put these sights on is that this is a very straight stock setup. It's not like the other shotguns. So when I'm down here, I see a whole lot of the back of this vent rib. And I think that's because I think this should be settled down. The stock angle should come down some. Seems like it's more like a rifle setup, which for my purposes, turkey is perfectly adequate in what I want, especially with these type of sights on there. Let me illustrate. On the Remington here, if I kind of hold it level, you can see that the buttstock from the top of the receiver, it comes down and angles down. Whereas this guy, if I kind of hold it level, this does not have as much rake on it as the Remington or any of the other shotguns back here either. So we're going to get this patterned up probably tomorrow, and I guess I'll see you in the mountains. Up here in the mountains, it's quite windy, so we're not going to do a ton of filming. So I'll bring you up to speed once I get some of this stuff sorted out and sighted in. Well, our first shot at 20 yards, the windage looks to be pretty good. Let's go back to 30. 30-yard pattern. It's actually a very good pattern. Those are Winchester XX number 4s. I'm just kind of using them to get sighted. Maybe a touch high right. So I moved the target back to 40 yards. I adjusted the sights ever so slightly because that 30-yard target looked like it was going to start trending a little high right, and switched to the Federal Grand Slam ammo. I gotta say, it seems like that Grand Slam loves a 555 choke. That's what that Indian Creek Black Diamond Strike was, and that's what this Carlson's TSS is, 555. Check it out. All right, still at 40 yards, Federal 3rd degree, the newer load, not the older one with the heavyweight shot, but the TSS pure shot. 40 yards. I don't know if that's, I can't really even adjust that. That's so close to being dead exact middle. No point in moving that. I think what I'm going to do now is put up a new target, take it to 45 yards and see what the Federal TSS 7 and 9 shot mix does out at 45. 45 yards. So that last shot with the Federal TSS, I don't know if that's just shooting a touch high right, but the 3rd degree and the Grand Slam seem to be shooting dead on. So I don't think I want to make too many adjustments considering I only have one TSS shell left. So I've moved the target into 30 yards and now I'm going to start shooting the bottom barrel and just see how it hits in relation to the top barrel being zeroed with the sights. So I actually don't want an amazing pattern at 30 yards because bottom barrel is going to be for close. So when I push the safety to the right, they're right on top of me. So I actually don't want it to pattern real tight. So I may need to switch to a different choke that I have, or possibly just use some of these old shells, something like this old Federal shot, or some of the really old Federal shot. Look at that. That's pre-flight control wad, pre-Grand Slam. And this is flight control wad, but before the Grand Slam. So I got like 3 generations of the Federal premium turkey loads. Would be nice to burn up some of those shells on close range birds and such. Otherwise, they're probably just going to sit around on the shelf, get tested once in a while. So this is about kind of what I'm looking for. This is the old Federal premium number 6. So it's shooting at 30 yards, about how the other ones were at 40. And so that's kind of what I'm looking for. Let me shoot another couple loads and see if I can keep that pattern fairly big at 30. By fairly big, I mean usable, but not real tight. Sufficient, but not overly tight. Remington Premier number 6. Pretty nice. Looks like maybe shoots a little left, maybe a touch low left, but a nice dispersion nonetheless. All right, so this was the Federal blue box, and we're at 30 yards still, under barrel. The under barrel has the True Lock Longbeard choke, which is a .565, so it's pretty tight. And this is 30 yards. That's centered up real nice. I think that's going to start out as my under barrel load until I run out of those, and then probably switch to those old Federal premium number 6s. And I think right now in that top barrel, I'm gonna go with the handful of Federal 3rd degrees that I have, and then maybe the Grand Slams, and or maybe that one Federal TSS I have remaining. So very interesting. Looks like I really don't need to worry about what shell I stick in that bottom barrel, especially with that choke that's in there right now. It's shooting everything really good at 30 yards. And that Remington seemed like it was off to the left side just a little bit, so probably won't use that as my bottom barrel right away. Don't need to if I got stuff that's hitting nice and center like this, and that other Federal load did as well. So that was my brief review and patterning of the Stevens 555 youth model and 20 gauge. Now the concept of a long range barrel and a short range barrel, that's not an original concept of mine. Other people have done it, and I just thought it was a good idea, and I should have followed through further on my side-by-side. Here comes that wind again. So I'm trying it with the over-under. So is it the ultimate turkey gun? I think if the trigger pulls were lighter, we'd be close. But I gotta tell you what, a 5-pound 20 gauge shooting turkey loads, that's some serious recoil. I don't know if I would hand that gun to a 10-year-old and take them to a dove field. That would not be a pleasant experience. Hope you liked that video, and if you did, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. 87% of you are not subscribers. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below. Let's get that YouTube algorithm going. And as always, thanks for watching.